Yes, you read that right, goon. Gnomes exist in Warhammer and they are just as whimsical as you think they are. But where exactly are they? Well, they'd like to live in the forests of the old world, I'd imagine, but in Warhammer, living in a forest is less peaceful getaway from the struggles of the world, and more constant guerrilla warfare between literally fucking everything, from beastmen to wood elves to bandits to goblins to orcs to the savage varieties of both aforementioned and the odd jungle dwarf. It truly is a shithole and you don't want to be residing in it. No, the vast majority of gnomes actually live under the swamps and bogs of the Empire, and sometimes Bretonnia too. Although there are rumors that there are some pockets of gnomish activity in the Grey Mountains. Those are mostly unconfirmed though. In terms of factions, the vast majority of gnomes live in their hidden subterranean swamp towns that they call burrows. Their society is a clan system with all gnome clans hating each other vehemently, although they don't take this clan hatred to violence like other races usually do. Instead, they prefer the classic method of stealing each other's shit and spreading petty rumors like the true all-brawn fighting race they are. But in terms of what they really are, I wasn't lying about the whimsical thing. Gnomes are probably up there with elves in terms of just how magical they are. In fact, if you had witch sight on, you could see that a constant magical grey mist was coming off of every single gnome at all times. Why grey? Because gnomes are infused with the Ulgu wind of magic. Biologically, gnomes are extremely scrawny with disproportionately bulbous heads and even more disproportionately bloated sniffers. They're also short, very short. Shorter than halflings actually. When gnomes leave their burrows, they actually usually disguise themselves as a vertically challenged halfling, which works most of the time due to the similarities they share. Now, here's where you might say, why would they need a disguise? People probably love gnomes. Well, that's where you would be stupid, because really, in fact, the men of the Empire kind of fucking hate gnomes. Well, the ones who know they exist anyway. Most men think gnomes are a myth, and most of the people who do know they're real are a mix of witch hunters and scholars of Ulgu. Due to their natural affinity with the winds of magic, the former group wants to slaughter gnomes, and the latter group wants to capture them for horrible inhumane experiments. Hence the reason gnomes live in barrows. Some barrows are bigger than others though, and while most don't get bigger than a hamlet in the time they exist, one did, and that was Glimdwaro. Which I will henceforth be calling Glimdarrow because Glimdwaro is really fucking hard to say and actually kind of annoying. It was the capital of gnome activity for a very long time, and at its peak, thousands of gnomes lived there in harmony. However, Grom the Paunch, being gnome-phobic scum, blew through Glimdarrow while on his way to stuff his face somewhere, and his goblins managed to sniff out Glimdarrow, overwhelming the Dwaro guard and annihilating the city, slaughtering most of the gnome population before being forced to retreat due to Grom not being satiated with the meat on the gnomes' bones. The Dwaro guard were actually pretty cool when they were alive, being a force composed of gnomes who were both martially and magically powerful. They probably had a crazy KD during Grom's attack, but were obscenely outnumbered, so it makes sense they lost. Gnome myth says originally 444 clans were created by their gods, all for a specific purpose. Although most of the clans have been destroyed by now, or their purpose lost to time, the gods have stayed the same, and the gnomes are a very pious people, praying before any activity associated with said gods. A fun tidbit before I wrap up, gnomes can be corrupted by chaos as well as study necromancy, which is pretty badass to think about. Anyway, in conclusion, if you enjoyed the video, like the video, subscribe to the video, and comment on the video if you want to see videos similar to this one. See ya.
Tell you something that's sitting up on my mind. I can't give me a dime, I can't give me a dime. Oh man, I'm so mad that I can't get the bag. It's so sad. Everybody wanna take all of mine. Everybody wanna take all of mine. Hey, shorty tryna holler, she just want $1, and I don't even think that's enough. Should've robbed her for her love. Sick and I'm feeling kinda stuck. I know she'll want me when I'm coming up. Hey.